You lose a knife fight with a cactus, or what? The recruit's voice sliced through the hangar, loud, smug, mocking. His laugh echoed, drawing attention like a spotlight. The others joined in, pointing and sneering at the woman standing silently in formation. Her forearms were marked by deep, angry scars, raw reminders of something none of them understood. She didn't move. Her eyes stayed forward, expression blank. Not a blink, not a twitch. Their words were sharp, but she was steel. "What's her call sign? Scratch?" Another joked, elbowing his buddy like he'd just killed a stand-up set. More laughter followed, but she stood still. The silence around her thickened, pressing down. One recruit swaggered closer, cocky like a frat boy in a bar fight. He leaned in, staring at her scars like they were a joke. "You scared? Or just too broken to talk?" he sneered, inches from her face. Still, nothing. And just before he could spit out one more insult, the sound of boots cracked through the air. The hangar doors groaned open, footsteps like thunder shook the room. Silence fell, hard and immediate. The general had arrived. No words, no fanfare, just presence. 4 stars gleamed on his chest. His stare was cold enough to cut steel. Every recruit snapped straight, like marionettes with their strings yanked. He walked the line slowly and stopped, right in front of her, the same woman they had mocked. He looked her in the eyes and said one word, calm and absolute: "Valkyrie." It hit like a grenade. The smirking recruit blinked, confused. But the general wasn't done. He stepped closer. "Didn't expect to see you back this soon." Her response was steady. "Mission's done, sir. I keep my promises." The general turned to the room, and his voice dropped into something heavy. For those who don't know, Valkyrie led the medevac out of Kandahar. His stare locked on them like a loaded gun. No backup, no air support, just her and hell. The room stood still, frozen in place. She crossed open fire while bullets rained from rooftops, took 2 rounds, still carried 2 Marines on her back, refused to leave until everyone was on that bird. His voice cracked slightly, then hardened. "One of those men was my son." Silence thickened. The recruit who mocked her looked like the floor had dropped out beneath him. The general turned slowly to face him. "You see those scars? That's what survival looks like. That's sacrifice. That's pain you wouldn't last 5 minutes in." His voice was rising now, like a storm about to break. "You laughed at a woman who's braver than any of you have ever dreamed of being." He took a step back and let it hit. "She didn't come here to lead. She didn't come to show off. She came to train beside you, to make sure you survive. So unless you've earned scars like hers, you shut your mouth and follow her lead." He walked away, each step echoing like a judgment. She turned slightly, just enough to glance at the recruit who had laughed. Her voice was calm but sharp enough to draw blood. Don't confuse silence with weakness. Sometimes it's restraint. Then she turned and walked off, unbothered, unshaken, unstoppable. He stood there, humiliated. No one laughed again, not in her presence. No one sat at her table in the mess hall, not from fear, but respect. She ran drills like a machine, focused, efficient, deadly. And when that same recruit collapsed in the middle of a brutal mud march, it was her, the one he'd ridiculed, who stopped, knelt beside him, pulled him up. She didn't say a word, just moved forward. This time he followed. From then on, he trained harder, watched her, studied every move, not out of guilt, but out of something deeper. Respect, because real strength doesn't yell. It shows up, scarred and silent, and leads from the front. She never talked about Kandahar, never reminded anyone who she was. She didn't need to. Her silence was louder than any war story, every bruise, every drill, every drop of sweat. That was her story. And slowly, they stopped seeing the scars. They started seeing the warrior. She wasn't just another soldier. She was the kind of lesson no classroom could teach. That bravery doesn't always roar. Sometimes it walks beside you and carries you when you fall. And when you get up, it walks silently behind you until you're strong enough to carry others. If this story hit you in the chest, let us know where you're watching from. Drop a karma in the comments to honor those who fight their battles in silence. Hit that like button, subscribe, because real warriors don't beg for respect. They walk in and earn it without saying a word.